Welcome to Red Zone DFS Week 13. Boys, we had a big week last week on DFS and hitting our lines. We're going to continue that momentum. We've been telling you guys all year as the season progresses, we get to know these players better. The end of the season is complete takedown time. So we're in it to win it, baby. Week 13, let's get this started. Vin, Jim, let's rock and roll, baby.
I'm feeling good about this week. There's first glance of the slate, it's pretty terrible, but I think that we can find some good value this week. So,
absolutely. All right, guys. So we're gonna get started with our stacks. Going with our quarterback plus stacks here in the beginning. I'm gonna lead off with Jimbo Rooney this week on his high player or his high value stack.
The rice and Rooney treat.
This week, I am going right back to a guy that they just didn't play this. They haven't been playing great lately. He's now priced down a little bit, and it's the ultimate get right spot. Is Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. You can stack this any way you want to. You can go with Kupp. You can go with Van Jefferson. Kupp went down a little bit in price, which I love. But yeah, I mean, there's any ways to do it, right? If you want to get, some of the other guys involved, you could play Higbee. And I like the run back options too on Jacksonville. I mean, Jacksonville's pretty terrible. And I think that the Rams could lay 50 on them this week. So you don't have to play anyone from Jacksonville. But you could play like Chenault or something like that. But, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Trevor Lawrence has only thrown one touchdown pass so far this year.
So it's really bad.
He has not had the greatest year. But I think the Rams are if they don't do it this week, then I don't know. Then they're in real trouble.
Yeah,
right?
No, I'm a big believer in if you are a contending team, yes, you're going to have your blunder weeks throughout the season. It's a long year. But these are the kind of games you just have to handle teams. Get out early, right? Your players aren't playing 85 plays on both sides of the ball. They need to take it to the Jaguars this week. I'm with you, Jim.
So Trevor Lawrence has obviously thrown more than one touchdown, but he's only thrown one touchdown in the past 6 weeks. So that's not great. So I think this is one what I might like to do is you could even play to get kind of weird because a lot of people are going to be on them. Is to add the defense into this stack, which is something that I don't typically do. But this is a game where, if you didn't really feel good about anything else outside of Kupp, you could go Matt Stafford, Kupp, and then Rams defense. And I mean, there you go, right?
And that's what I call thinking out of the box.
Yeah, it's just a little weird wrinkle, especially when you're playing GPPs, right? The game theory is going to go, if you think that they're going to get turnovers, they're going to be on a little bit shorter of a field, so the actual stats for the Rams might not be as great, but the touchdowns will be there, and you can offset some of that lossage of the yards by playing the defense and getting sacks and interceptions, and it's probably a good bet for a pick six. So I don't typically like to pay up for defense, but this week I am going to play a lineup that when I stock the Rams, I will be playing the Rams defense.
No, I like that a lot. Vinny, let's go to you.
Yeah, I think Jim might actually be part of the deep state and have my notes because he pretty much stole everything I was about to say about the Rams there. So, obviously on board with that. If I'm going down the list, I think next up is Tampa. We saw them absolutely.
No, you're fucking deep state.
They tore Atlanta a new one last time they played them. I love the fact, when we're getting down to the final 6 to 8 weeks, we talked about it last week with Brady. This is when he starts to really lock in, right? As far as getting 100%. Ready to go win his 95th Super Bowl. So
hopefully not, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Atlanta's actually surprisingly not nearly as bad as people think on the surface, but they're no match for this team. Antonio Brown, he's out with an injury. He's suspended with a fake COVID card. He's out for a while, but I think it doesn't change anything for the fact that this offense is, obviously insanely correlated, right? We're talking Evans, Godwin, Gronk has been fantastic, and you do have playoff Lenny, who is definitely playable here. I'm not going to go that direction this week, but I'm going more the air raid. But that's
I like it.
Well, last week the only lineups I lost were my Brady lineups, and it's because playoff Lenny had just a massive performance in the goal line, and Brady wasn't throwing touchdowns for once. Tampa Bay was still dominating and putting up points. The offense was still rolling. Yeah. Brady just wasn't getting the touchdown. So I'm going right back to Brady. I'm with you, Vin.
Totally.
Stacks are too easy.
It was just a bad beat. They got inside the 10, the 15, and playoff Lenny just took over, and it happens. So, but Brady still had like a decent game. It wasn't like a bad game by him. So I'm rolling right back to him as well. So
I like it. Joe, who's your favorite stack of the week?
Well, you guys took my two favorites, but if I have to go with my number 3, it's Joe Burrow with Cincinnati. Going with our Jamar Chase, going with T. Higgins, right? Even mix in some Joe Mixon, no pun intended. The Chargers are flawed, man. They are very, very flawed. So the Chargers, I think everyone keeps thinking, they got the talent, they're a good team, but the reality is they still are losing and they're, giving up points every week. So in Cincinnati, their offense is charged.
Yep.
Joe Burrow is legit. And imagine if he wasn't getting hit so much. He's getting hit more than almost any quarterback in the league, and he's still doing what he's doing. Yeah. Now, imagine if he just has any kind of time. It's going to go off. And I like having Mixon a part of the stack because he has the receiving touchdown options in the red zone, and Mixon has been a bell cow for them. So I really like the Burrow Mixon stack.
That was going to be my only – I love the Burrow stack this week. My only concern is that the Chargers' run defense is absolutely horrendous. And I get it, right? And I think obviously Mixon's going to be popular. I like throwing Mixon into that stack to kind of get different if you do want to play Mixon. So I like that. But that's like my only area because like last week, the Bengals scored 41 points, but Burrow only put up 17 because they're just running the ball down Pittsburgh's throat. So,
but what's amazing is 17 is his floor, and he's 6,300.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He's still getting you around 3x, even at his floor on a game where he's not the primary guy. Now, imagine when he is the primary guy, and you know how the Bengals and the Chargers play games. It's going to come down to a 3-point game in the end. Burrow's going to be throwing the ball over the place in the fourth quarter, and that's what's going to snake me back to the other side of this game. And I'm going to go right to my next one since you stole my first two. It's Justin Herbert with the Chargers. Yeah, this whole game is so stackable. They have one of the highest totals of the day. I can see this game being 31-30, up in that 30 range on both teams. I think you do double stacks both ways, and, you got to get creative because most of these guys are pretty expensive. But if you can go with Burrow, save yourself $400, go with some Chargers receivers with Chase. You can get pretty creative with this. So, those are one of my favorite. Guess my favorite game. So,
Mike Williams is pretty cheap. So he's a guy that's been quiet the last few weeks. He's a touchdown or bust guy. He's a guy that I think you can easily get in there, right? Kind of fits nicely if you want to play the full game stack. Because if you are going to do it, I think you should play both running backs because
that's a great option.
Eckler he gets like 9 targets a game. He's this year's Christian McCaffrey, right? And they're using him like that. Everyone think Herbert's a fantastic talent, but the fact of the matter is he has the lowest ADOT of any starting quarterback in the entire NFL right now. And that might be a surprising stat to some people, but his average depth of target, he's just not going to make the mistake. He knows he's got a great player in Austin Eckler, and he's going to utilize him, right?
Well, and with that, Keenan Allen's not exactly a deep threat either, right?
No, he's not.
They're all, both those guys are 12 yards and then,
So yeah, I think that's going to be good. I think that, a lot of people are probably going to like that. So getting to a full game stack there, I think is going to be your way to get different and just basically load up as many players as you can.
Yep. Yeah, and if I had to choose, I have Herbert as my third. I like that side of the ball better in terms of quarterback, just because I think he does have more upside, and I think the Chargers lean on him more.
I think he's just going to be forced to throw it, right?
Yeah, and to Jim's point, Eckler's really good, but Mixon's been in another stratosphere lately, and so, both sides are awesome, but I'll lean Herbert there.
All right. Is there anyone else here in the 6K range? I got someone I'm looking at, but I'll let you guys take over here.
I mean, in the 6K range, no. In the 5K range, I like the option of playing Taylor Heineke in a Washington potato stack against the Raiders. The Potatoes are all of a sudden in playoff contention. They're actually in the play. If the playoffs started today, the Potatoes would be in. As wild as that sounds. He's a guy that, he picks up the yards with his legs. McLaurin didn't have a great game last week, but I think he's a guy that bounces back, and he's an easy kind of add in there. Obviously, Logan Thomas is his kind of safety blanket. So you have an easy double stack there, and then I like the options coming back. You get some really cheap options to run it back with the Raiders with Foster Moreau this week at 2,700 because Waller's going to be out. And then, if you just play Moreau and then Renfro, I mean, either one of those guys as a run back or both of them, if you want to stack it up like that, I think is going to be pretty positive. Josh Jacobs also didn't practice today, which is a bit of a concern this late in the week. So Kenyon Drake, that might be another good option too, or if you wanted to get, those two guys in there. So you've got a combination on the run back that I really like. So if we're going to go low, I actually like that Potatoes game as a stack.
And something to be noted in that game, McKissick has not practiced at all this week as of yet. That just gives me more reason to play a Heineke with Gibson because they have been pounding the ball. Brandon Scherf at guard is doing his best Quentin Nelson impression this season.
Yeah, he's playing really well.
Yeah, and Gibson is running his ass off, even with his fractured shins, which he's proven is not an issue. So with McKissick's going out, I'm all in on Gibson with Heineke. So I like that a lot.
Well, and the other guy who is back, he played last week, got 6 targets right off the bat, was Logan Thomas, right, at tight end. So there's your third option if you're not going to go Gibson. You can go Thomas and Terry there. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Okay. My next stack that I'm looking at is Minnesota. I mean, Kirk Cousins, he's having a hell of a year. But I mean,
jerk.
You know what Kirk Cousins does against bad teams when the situations aren't clutch, like last week when he needs to get the play done. It might not happen, but when it's a blowout, I mean, this guy's throwing 4 touchdowns to Jefferson and Thielen, and this game's going off. No Dalvin Cook. Madison's probably gonna get his. Madison's probably gonna get most of the ownership from this game, but I really like doing the Cousins to Jefferson stack. Obviously, that's the connection. Thielen is completely secondary at this point. Thielen obviously can break out at any point. He has that kind of skill, but it's obvious in their offense that Jefferson is the main target. They're trying to get him the ball in the end zone and downfield. So don't look past Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, I like the run back options on the other side of the game. I don't know if Swift is going to play. I don't think that he is.
No, probably not.
So you've got Jamal Williams, who I think is a great option. Who we've seen it earlier this year when Smith was banged up. I mean, he was just in there literally the entire game, right? He's a cheap option to run back. I don't know. Maybe Hawkinson would be my only other guy if you wanted to run it back in that game. But I would like, just the Kirk wide receivers and then run it back with Jamal Williams. And I think you just kind of move on your way.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. Anyone else that maybe is a little random here that you're liking?
I got a random one here.
Bring it on.
Let's see. Let's hear it.
So I like Kirk, but I'm gonna strap this lineup up probably with a noose around my neck, just knowing how it's gonna end. But at 5K, we could see a Big Ben resurgence versus the Ravens.
Oh God.
Oh nope, it's not happening.
5K.
You're giving our listeners bad advice.
It's a complete free square. Complete.
It's not, though.
It is, because you do have very clear options in a game that should play up because Pittsburgh's defense is really bad. Baltimore's gonna score this week, right? So you look at it like the Steelers can't run the ball. Their offensive line's poor. He's gonna have to throw the ball 40 plus times this game, right? We always talk about, like, you got Najee, the receiving option. Deontay's out there. I think this game kind of has some sneaky shootout potential here. And I'm not saying I love it. I'm just saying for a 5K, just burn it and move on, 5K saver. That opens up allowing you to play Deontay. you can get Eckler and Mixon, possibly even squeeze in a Taylor there. Like, it opens the door on everything for a 5K.
Yeah, but so like I get what you're saying, but I think there's so much other value in other spots this week.
There is.
You don't need to do that. Like I would
Big Ben got us 11 last week. Not
Yeah.
us. We didn't play him, but
I mean, like I would
No.
rather just play like Lamar on the
I hear
other
you.
side and then just play Najee and Deontay, because I don't disagree with what you're saying, but in order for Ben to have the amount of points that we need, even at $5,000, like we need him to get to like 17 to 20 points to help us win a GPP. And
if I'm going to
difficult.
If I'm going to go down that low, I want a quarterback, if I have the option, that has some running ability, which again, it's Tyrod Taylor. Now, he only got a 16 last week, but it was still 3X, right? This is the floor. This is the absolute floor for Tyrod Taylor. He's going to get us our 3X at 5,300 because of his running ability. He's going to get us those extra rushing yards, that extra 3 or 4 points that we need from him. So if I'm going to go down in the 5K range or low 5K range, I'd rather do a Tyrod Taylor because he can actually run the ball. Big Ben last week, I mean, it was pathetic watching him. I was laughing out loud hysterically every time he got hit, every time he tried to run away from somebody. It was a joke.
I hear what you're saying. I'm
Vinny,
just saying from the sense.
Vinny, if you're going for value, why aren't you playing neck?
Yeah, that I won't do.
So
Neck is Glennon, everybody.
Yeah, okay, sorry, Mike Glennon. The dead man, $4,000.
Okay, that's a free square, sort of.
He has the same base projection as Ben this week.
Right, but what I'm saying is
worse
like
than Daniel Jones.
If you're going to throw out guys like Heineke, who put up 12 points last week, and Carr 2 weeks ago put up 11, I'm just saying like all these guys have 20-point potential, right?
What I'm saying is the reason that you're making, if you're looking for savings, the play is neck. I mean, the play is not Ben, because Ben could get hurt. I mean, he's already like hobbling around out there.
Yeah,
but the reality is Neck is going to get you at least your 12 points because they're going to be behind and they're going to be throwing the ball. He's going to be dumping it down, getting completions. He's still going to throw for 250. I mean, he might throw 3 picks, but he's going to get you at least your 12 points. So I agree with Jimmy. If you're going to go for a free square play,
but I'm looking at it from just a game script perspective. Like, I don't want to spend too much time on it. I'm saying this is a crazy ass, like, wild dart throw here. But like, Najee's last 2 games have 12 carries and 8. Like, they can't run the ball. They're going to be trailing, right? Like,
so it's just, but it's the same exact
situation as Glennon. Yeah,
exactly. But you're saving $1,000.
But Ben is at least, even though, you know, his best days are behind him and he's got 100 injuries, he's a real quarterback. Even if he's a shell of himself versus Neck.
I'm going to play Neck now. I've talked myself into playing a Neck lineup. So,
all right. Let's just do a straight up bet. I would have $20. What guy has more DraftKings points Sunday, Ben or Neck?
I'll take Neck.
All right, straight up. Let's do it.
I'll take Neck. That's fine.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
You arguing Big Ben is like trying to argue Eli Manning in his final season. It's just, you just don't play him.
I'm going to be his biggest cheerleader on Sunday. Watch. All right.
Let's move on to running. Yeah, let's move on to running backs. God. Jesus Christ.
Playing Mike Glennon and betting on Mike Glennon.
So Vinny doesn't give us any more weird takes here. No rabbit holes.
I guess.
It's not a good play.
I'm going to let Vinny lead us off with the high-end running backs here so he doesn't give us anything too weird.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if ownership holds as far as what I'm seeing, I'll definitely have Jonathan Taylor. I know he's 9,200. As Jim pointed out, there's a lot of value on this slate. Like, it opens the door for a lot here. I don't think you have to like bend, into like multiple 3K guys to squeeze him in. Like, there's value all over the place. He's in an amazing matchup. He's been getting the rock. Like, I know there's a lot that could go wrong, and to what you were saying, Joe, but if ownership holds right now, where he's, from what I'm looking at, the 4th highest owned running back, I'll play it.
What?
No doubt.
Yeah, no, everyone's going value. Everyone's going value this week.
How it's ranking out for me right now is James Conner, Eli Mitchell, Darrell Henderson, and then Jonathan Taylor at 18%. If that changes and it starts to sweep like you were talking about, Jim, and he starts getting to 25, 30+%, that is now a decision, obviously, to make the fade. But for now, I will be playing him.
Jesus. I mean, you kind of almost have to, right? If he's going to be under 20%, I mean, shit.
I think a lot of people
for the rushing title this year too, and they're not gonna. He's gonna go for it.
I think to Joey's point, I think a lot of people are looking at the value on the slate, and they're looking at cheap running backs, and they're going to go that direction, which is a good way to pivot and go up top because I like all three above 8K. So,
and the reality is, guys, this is another division game. We were hot on the division games last week. That's what won us money because these games go down the nitty gritty of the wire. I know the Colts have been on fire lately, and the Texans. I mean, the Texans haven't been playing bad. I hate to say it, but I mean, it's a division game. It's a division game, no matter what. These AFC South is weird. It gets really weird, and I think this game is going to be a game.
Well, Indy's still trailing by 2 games in the division to Tennessee.
Yes.
Like this is a must win. You know what I mean? Like so, they're not going to like take these guys lightly. You know, so if Jonathan Taylor again, if his ownership doesn't start skyrocketing, like I'm all over it.
Okay. Jim, let's go to you. I mean, we already touched on Eckler and Mixon. We can probably move below that. We know we're on them. So,
I mean, I think you have to go back and at least consider the Cordero Patterson train. Tampa Bay's defense is a pass funnel. If he's 100% healthy, he's Matt Ryan's favorite weapon. I like Russell Gage as a wide receiver, right? But I mean, those are just easy little dump off passes that I think Patterson is going to just.
I don't trust basic slot receivers in DFS anymore.
Okay,
the upside is very low. So I'm just saying with Russell Gage, he's a fine receiver. I just don't like him in DFS. The upside is way too low.
So it's for me, it's Patterson, and then my other guy, just like kind of as a one off, is a guy that I'm sure we're going to talk about again. But is Elijah Mitchell for the Niners. I don't know why they didn't raise his price that much. I think they raised it $200 from last week, maybe $400, but it's still not enough for the amount of volume that they're getting. And I guess that the people at DraftKings who set the algorithms don't watch the games. I mean, the Niners actively know that they can't win games with Jimmy G throwing the ball 25 to 35 times a game. They need to run the ball. They're going to be on the road versus Seattle. It's a division game that they have to win. Like, I don't know how you don't just play all of the Elijah Mitchell. And to your point earlier, like if that many people are going to play James Conner, then Mitchell's ownership is not going to get anywhere near where it should be. And that's perfectly fine with me. That's just an easy pay $100 more and then go get it, right?
Yeah. I'm with you because another guy that's slating to be really chalky there is Myles Gaskin. I think Mitchell's going to be super low owned this week.
It just blows me away. Like people, like if you watch the games, not just like your own game, but if you watch the game and then look at the trends of what the Niners started winning when they started running the ball 30 plus times a game, right? I mean, it's just like clockwork, right? And then like James Conner and Myles Gaskin, like, okay. Like,
well, I actually take it back, Jim. I mean, looking at, again, Thursday night ownership here is what I see. I think that the chalk build is going to be like people are going to start their lineups with James Conner, Eli Mitchell, Darrell Henderson. They're going to take the 3 low 6K running backs, which, again, kind of leads me to loving the up top with the Taylor.
But that's
Eckler,
fine.
Mixon,
like, Mitchell's got to be over 25% for me to not play him.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying as far as like where the chalk is leaning.
I mean, he had 33 points last week, and I mean, then now we get no Debo for the whole game. I mean,
yeah, they're going to lean on him more.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to go to my next running back. Yeah, I like these value picks, and some of these guys that aren't even going high owned, like a Miles Sanders. He's going against a Jets team that is pathetic.
Jets.
I'm not there.
And Boston Scott, probably not going to play this week. You got Jordan Howard, probably not going to play this week. Jalen Hurts' ankle is messed up. He might not be running around doing his thing as much. This could be a game where Miles Sanders does what everyone thinks he should be doing at 5,100 or 5,200, and he's less than 5% owned. So Miles Sanders is going to get the bell cow type of carries this week. I think Miles Sanders, I'm not calling him a core play, but I'd rather play him than go with a guy of the same skill set that's up at 25, 30% just because another starter is out. Miles Sanders is starter quality player. They just don't give him the damn ball.
Well,
But it's
but
all leading to him
he
getting the
gets
ball
hurt
this
all the
week.
time,
But it's
too,
all
Billy.
leading to him getting the ball. I know, but it's all leading to him getting the ball again this week.
I get it.
But he's starting to get more carries these last 2 weeks since he's came back from his injury. He's trending upwards. People aren't seeing it. This is something you can hop on before he blows up and he gets back up to 25% ownership next week, and we all jump back off.
I will have 0 shares of Miles Sanders this week.
All right. You can run into the stock market late.
All right.
You can run into the stock market late. Do you
I
guys
mean,
like
Billy,
anyone else down here?
I mean, down here, I mean, we talked about it earlier. I think Jamal Williams is just no one's going to play him. Like he has a floor, I think, like a base projection of somewhere between 18 to 20 points. He's projecting right now on the best point per dollar value on the entire slate at about 3.83 points per dollar. So that works out to a base projection of about 21 points at $5,400. I mean, I might just go lock button in 100% of my lineups with him. I mean, it's one of those weeks where I really think that you need to try and work to get 3 running backs in your lineup. Use your flex. I don't love using my flex for morning game guys, but if I'm going to this week, it's going to be a running back.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know we kind of skipped over him. What's your guys' take on Madison this week?
I mean, that's the only time the algorithm gets it right is whenever Dalvin Cook gets hurt. It's literally the only thing DraftKings knows is let's price Madison up when Dalvin gets hurt. They know that, but they don't know how to do any other pricing changes.
Strange.
I mean, he got the bell cow last time versus Detroit when Dalvin missed and he put up 30 points.
No, absolutely.
So, yes, he's not cheap, but I have a hard time getting away from him if Dalvin's out, which – the guy's got like 2 torn labrums. I don't know how
he's out for 2. He's out for 2 weeks.
Okay, they have him questionable this week. And we're like, okay.
Well, he did practice. I mean, he's a tough son of a bitch. Like he's obviously, we've heard the stories of his impending legal battles. I don't think he's like maybe all there.
Well, he's probably trying just to rack up the game checks before they.
No, he's always been a tough man. But something that should be noted here is that Darrell Henderson for the Rams has not practiced yet this week from a quad injury he sustained on Sunday. He's getting over 20% ownership right now. The pivot is Sony Michel. And now Sony might take a ton of ownership if Darrell Henderson goes out because everyone might just flip to him.
100%. He will.
He will. But I mean, at 4,300, that's a free square for a running back in a Rams team going against the Jaguars if he's the starter. And even if he is at 50% owned, I feel like you got to throw him in there in that free square.
I've got more interest in playing Michelle if Darrell Henderson is active because I think it's one of those situations where Darrell Henderson gets hurt or they're pounding Jacksonville and then they just run Michelle. If Henderson's not going to play and they announce that like Saturday, I don't know. Would probably just go. I would rather just play a guy like Jamal Williams. I know it's not the savings all the way down to 4,300, but I'm already playing neck at 4,000. So how much more savings do I need?
That lineups where you're playing Brady or something.
That Michelle play, I think that's like very logical, Joe. That's like one of my core rules in like DFS as far as I try to stick to is like I'm not going to play bad running backs that
Sony's not bad.
That become ultimate.
I don't think he's very good, Joey.
But if
I don't think he's bad either.
If he shifts to 35%, there's no way I'm playing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if Henderson's ruled out, then I'm not playing.
Because you're thinking right. I'm just saying the huge amount of the field is going to go that direction.
I like Jimmy's take on it and hoping that they're crushing him and Sony gets all those second half carries with no ownership and he squeezed a touchdown in for us.
Yeah, like I'm rooting for Henderson to be active because if Henderson is going to be active, then everyone will just do the stupid like, oh yeah, he's not going to play at all. When it's like, okay, well this guy was hurt all week. Like he's obviously going to play some, and if they're kicking their ass, he's going to play a lot. So that's where I'm interested for him.
And I think the only guy that I don't know if we touched on or not, but if he's you mentioned it's like misses. I do really like Gibson a lot.
Yeah, we talked about
which we talked about it. But just want to make sure you touched on that because for 5,700, I mean you're gonna get you could put him and Williams in to start a lineup at. Yep. And you're at 11K in your salary, and you've got 2 bell cows. So
I think those guys are both core plays.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's move on to receiver. Let's try to stay away from guys that we mentioned in our stacks. Any maybe one-off guys or guys your eyes light up a little bit when you see their matchup this week. Either one of you, who wants to jump on it?
All right. Well, I won't mention Deontay with my Ben stack. Don't mention that. But I think one guy that I think their only shot to win this game and where this team is very vulnerable is I'm going to be playing some Tyler Lockett at 6,500.
100%.
I think the Seahawks are completely trash and washed as a team. But that's not to say when he's playing against Josh Norman, he doesn't connect on a few bombs.
Yes.
So at 6,500, I've never really gotten a Lockett week right. So I'm hoping this is it.
I think you're good. Ever since the DK OnlyFans video, Russ won't throw the ball to him.
Dude,
so
his
I think
stats
you're okay.
are outrageous. Like he's getting nothing from Russ.
No, Russ won't even look at him. No, it's like pretty obvious that he is like. I think my theory on Twitter is DK banged Ciara, and this is his punishment.
Is that why Russ had security at his party that he had to make sure that DK and Ciara didn't go wandering in?
I think he just Russ is just like as an altar boy looks at him as just like a creature, like a creep, get this like sick human away from me who like has intercourse,
it's pretty obvious. No, so I do like the Lockett play a lot, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little scared of it because Seattle is that fucking bad right now.
They're really bad.
They're sad to watch.
But the good thing is like Lockett is a guy that could go 3 for 98 with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Niners corners have problems with is the small, quick guys. The guys like DK, they do a little bit better against because they can body them up. They're a little bit more physical. And you've got some younger guys like Hufanga in the middle playing pretty well, and that's where DK runs a lot of his routes. But then you've got the guys who have petrified wood for hamstrings and Josh Norman. And I mean, he's just so bad, man. Everyone's like, oh yeah, he caused all these forced fumbles. Like, that's fucking great. He also gets torched like, Tim Allen torched the turkey on Christmas and Santa Claus. He's fucking terrible. Like, I really wish we would just play some of the younger guys who can't even play, be active. But anyway, that's a side.
I like the petrified wood. All right, take it easy.
Yeah, that was good. All right, my one-off receiver here is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. When have you ever seen him at 6,200?
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
I know he's coming off injury, and people, I guess, will forget about him like we always talk about. His ownership will be lower. I mean, I know there's the risk he comes out of the game because his hamstring acts up again.
Speaking of petrified hamstrings.
But 62 Hopkins is a tough motherfucker, right? Like, if they were more in the race, I think if they were tied with the Niners or whatever for the division lead, I think he would have been in a couple of weeks ago. I think they've been holding him out intentionally because they have such a lead. I think Hop is completely ready to go. Kyler's back.
They both could have played 2 weeks ago, but they just keep winning. So they're like, all right, well, we'll just rest these guys.
Yeah, like what's the point, right? So he did have a bye week last week, right? Yeah. Too. They were on bye. That's a really good call. If there was going to be a week to play him, it's coming off the bye. It's probably the healthiest he's going to be since the start of the season.
He's got the Q tag next to his name, which scares people away.
Yeah, I like that, Joe. I like that. It's not a bad call.
I don't know how in the hell DeAndre Hopkins can be sneaky, but I think he's sneaky this week.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, he's just old. I mean,
he's still
old. What it is.
What else are you thinking, Jim?
We're kind of getting down. I mean, we mentioned him as kind of part of the run back on that stack, but I really like Hunter Renfrow this week at 5,800. I mean, he's just Carr's safety blanket. Brandon Ayuk at 5,600 this week with no Debo. In a game where they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit, I think. I know they want to try and run the ball, but with Debo out, it condenses that offense down in the passing offense basically into Ayuk and Kittle, and then a collection of other guys who used to work at Lowe's and load lumber on the weekends, who I don't really know half their names. And, so like these guys are going to be the guys that they're going to go to. They're going to scheme plays specifically for Ayuk. He's out of the doghouse or whatever now. So 5,600. And then, we talked about it as part of the stack as well. Mike Williams at 5,700. The upside that he presents in a GPP, he's got 25 to 30 point upside very, very easily in a game that they're going to need to throw the ball quite a bit. He's been quiet. He was quiet last week. He had the good Sunday night game. So those are three guys down in that like mid fives.
So I'm going to stay, just because you're right in that range, I'm going to go next with Michael Pittman at 50. Okay. Michael Pittman, 5,700. Again, they're not. I know he hasn't been scoring a ton of points the last couple of weeks, but he's still, outside of Jonathan Taylor, the focal point of that offense. And this happens where one of these weeks, Michael Pittman's going to be the one that scores 2 or 3 touchdowns and not Taylor. And Pittman hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 games. People are falling off of Pittman. And I'm going to be lining Pittman up in a lot of lineups this week as a one-off guy in between my stacks, hoping that Pittman gets a touchdown or 2. I think he's absolutely due. All right. And his price never moves. 5,700.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I mean, you get everybody saying, oh, yeah, Indy's going to pound Houston, blah, 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 blah. And it's Division one of those games that might be a little closer, right? Yep. So, yeah, I think that's one that he's sandwiched between some other guys like Renfro and Higgins, I think, who are going to pick up a little bit of ownership too.
Yeah. And one guy that we didn't mention that I love this week, and I think he's really, really sneaky, at 6,100, the age-old saying, like, what, squeaky wheel gets the grease. I don't know. Did you see Devontae Smith throw his helmet and start ripping Nick Sirianni's ass at the end of last game about not getting a target?
Well, he's got a point because Jalen Reagor
absolutely has a point.
Jalen Reagor is absolutely terrible.
He sucks.
He might be the Eagles' Dante Pettis. I mean, they picked Jalen Reagor ahead of Justin Jefferson. So
I think Devontae Smith, they actively get him the ball versus the Jets. Like, dude, this has like 30, 40 point upside this week.
I mean, he was on my maybe list, but after just kind of remembering that, I mean,
epic timing for a rookie to do that. Like, just he's the alpha in the offense already. Like, he's really, really good.
He's not wrong. I mean, he's there because they drafted Reagor ahead of Justin Jefferson.
How long do you think Sirianni lasts there? Like one more year?
They'll give him another year.
They'll give him another year after this. But I mean, if it's not like, next year, if it's like a wild card one and done situation, I still think he gets canned.
Philly's just going to eat his lunch.
Yeah, he just got to produce, and he's a little bit shorthanded, and his hands are a little bit tied because I think Jalen Hurts is a decent quarterback, but I think he's pretty limited. But again, they needed weapons. They missed in the draft last year, and they drafted Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson. So this year they had to go. They took Devonta Smith, right? They kind of fell to him, just kind of worked out. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a good one. Joe, dropping
down low.
I want to go down low. Yeah, there's this guy that, I mean, you talked about the stack earlier, Jim, but we didn't mention this player at all. He's the emerging player in this offense.
Please. I think I know who you're talking about.
3,600.
Ooh, no.
DeAndre Carter.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Now, he has been getting the targets. He has 2 touchdowns in his last 3 games. Him and Heineke are creating a rapport. And if you're actually watching the Potatoes play right now, DeAndre Carter is pretty goddamn explosive. Kind of out of nowhere. It's like this guy is, he's twitchy. When he gets the ball in his hands, he can make things happen. And he's obviously getting himself open. So, and teams are obviously putting doubles on McLaurin. And DeAndre Carter is benefiting. And at 3,600, that is an absolute free square, in my opinion. With a game total, that's one of the highest of the week.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I like
Jim,
that one.
He's their number 2.
Who do you like down low?
Well, at 3,400, somebody who, Vinnie, I hate to bring this up from last week. I forgot to put him in my Thanksgiving Day lineups, is Josh Reynolds. At 3,400, I mean, he's the number 1 receiver on the Lions right now. He's such an easy run back option, especially if when you do a full stack. We didn't talk about him when we talked about that stack, but at 3,400 for a guy that, they're going to be down, they're going to be throwing the ball, who has a rapport with Jared Goff. I mean, it's just so hard to see him getting anything less than 10 points this week. I mean, obviously it's possible, but the likelihood of it happening compared to some of these other guys down here is like night and day, right? I mean, he's going to get 5 to 7 targets. He's going to have probably one of those two, at least one, maybe two of those targets come in the red zone. So like for 3,400, that might be another one where I just lock that one in everywhere.
I might have one better because
don't do it.
Apparently illnesses for the Houston Texans.
Oh.
The number one potential receiver for the Texans this week is $3,100 in Nico Collins. And again, guys, $3,100 for a number one? What?
That's just Houston every week, though.
No, absolutely, no, for sure. But if Cooks is out, right, because he's been sick all week, and they're saying he might not go.
I didn't practice again today.
Conley hasn't practiced this week. Amendola is out. Their next receiver on their depth chart is Nico Collins for the number one spot.
Rumor has it that the receiver room just all shared and drank a bunch of Visine trying to get out of the line.
Oh my God!
I'm not playing this week.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. If you're strapped for cash in some of your high priced lineups, I mean, a Nico Collins throw a dart might benefit you.
Yeah,
maybe play Nico and Josh Reynolds together, and you could basically just get whoever the hell else you want to.
I could say that, and I got one other guy down there that I'll have a little bit of at 3,200 as my major pay down this week, and that's Zay Jones. I don't think he's a very good receiver, but he got 7 targets last week versus Dallas.
What did he do with him, Vinny?
Yeah, he's not very good.
That's the problem. He's getting the targets.
5 catches for 60 yards, 11 points. I mean, at 3,200. Again, if he's going to get those kind of targets, like it's pretty evident. I think we can kind of conclusively say, sorry, Raider Nation, that Bryan Edwards is not a combination of Terrell Owens and
can't get open.
What was the other one? Randy Moss. I think it was
when he gets the ball, it's like, oh shit! But the guy can't get himself open. He just can't get himself open. It's really frustrating as a fan. Actually,
he's not good. And Zay Jones, I mean, say what you want about him, he's at least like stepping up to fill that Ruggs void a little bit. Again, at 3,200, we're talking about guys that are just bottom of the barrel. You're hoping to get 10, 12 points out of it. If I could get
just from my perspective, the reason Zay Jones plays so much, by the way, is because he is actually a decent blocker, and he puts himself in the shit to block, and that's why he's in most plays.
Okay,
he's not really
he's going to be on the
guy.
He's going to be on the field, and now you remove a Darren Waller and all of his targets, right? They got to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. So 3,200 against Washington's piss poor pass defense, like I'm going to have some Zay Jones this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Why not? Let's move on to tight end, boys. Where are we looking?
Well, I mean, I'll kind of continue what I was talking about with the Niners, with the offense being so condensed down, and now they dropped George Kittle's price $500 from last week. I'll gladly pay $5,900. I think that it's pretty clear what Jamal Adams is, and that he's not very good. And that might have been one of the worst trades in the last 5 years, that Seattle giving up 2 number ones and a number 2 for a guy who can barely tackle and can't cover really anybody. Yeah, he's got a big mouth, but he's like the more popular version of Jonathan Abrams.
Yes.
There's just not a lot that he can do. Like, he just gets caught flat-footed. He gets caught guessing, caught looking in the backfield, not playing his assignments, and they just get absolutely fucking torched all the time. Mm-hmm. Now, with the Niners that are going to have a guy like George Kittle, who's an explosive guy down the middle, that's a perfect kind of guy. And I think this is one of those weeks that we've been kind of waiting for, especially if you own George Kittle in the season-long league, where he could have that 27 to 32 point game this week.
Well, you said it earlier with Debo out, right?
Exactly.
He's going to have to be a big.
It just condenses everything down, and he's going to be my favorite guy if I'm going to pay up this week.
Yeah.
All right. If I'm gonna pay up this week, and I hate saying this, but it's the writing's on the wall for Mark Andrews. Pittsburgh's defense has not been great. Lamar's main outlet is Mark Andrews running over the middle of the field because linebackers are so concerned with Lamar running the football. Yep. And have you noticed that Mark Andrews probably has the most uncontested catches in the NFL? Like throughout the last 3 years,
he's constantly wide the fuck open.
Yeah, people just don't cover him, and I think the reason is because linebackers have their eyes in the backfield of Lamar, and Andrews sneaks behind him every single time. So Andrews finds himself open all the time.
Yep.
And against Pittsburgh, which has not given me much confidence with their defense outside of their defensive line, Mark Andrews, if I'm paying up, he's the guy for me. Kittle just hasn't shown me enough yet. I understand where you guys are coming from. He has that upside. I just don't see it from the Niners offense yet, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But
I think
Mark
you have to
Andrews
remember
has shown he can get those 2 or 3 touchdowns. And we're like, can you guys cover this guy?
Yeah, I hear you. It makes sense.
The thing for me, Joe, is that like down around the goal line without Debo, they run that little inside sweep to Kittle. Yeah. And they like to do that with Debo, and Kyle Shanahan would much rather hand the ball off. I mean, this is really, really terrible. And again, I don't know why we're not playing Trey Lance, because Jimmy gives you 0 run threat, but he would rather hand the ball off to one of our dynamic weapons in the red zone than trust Jimmy to throw them the ball. I mean, we saw it against the Jags. Jimmy can't throw a 4-yard check down to a guy that doesn't have somebody 15 yards with him for a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm going with that. I don't think Mark Andrews is a bad play whatsoever. I just particularly think this week that Kittle is going to have that spike game that he kind of has once a year, and I'm hoping that it's going to be this week.
Yeah, I like the play. It's a great upside play for sure.
Yeah.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Anybody else above 5,000, Vinny?
Above
By the
5K. Go ahead.
I'm playing Gronk in 80% of lineups.
Yeah,
we talked about him in the stack earlier.
Yeah, I like
we
Gronk.
talked about the stack, but he has to be mentioned.
I have a little bit of interest in Zach Ertz. The Bears defense sucks. My only nervous about it is if Hopkins is back and Kyler's back, who hasn't even played with Ertz. I don't think since they've traded for him. He
has, but I
not a
hear
ton,
that concern.
I'm just going through some of the 5K guys. The only other guy that's like mid tier that like I could see myself playing, I like, we're not going to talk about obviously stacks, so I'm not going to mention Pat Freiermuth at 4,200. I really like, but Logan Thomas right below him is a guy I mentioned earlier, but 4K, I think he's in a great spot. I mean, they said they were going to limit his targets and ease him back in. Well, he got 6 targets right out of the gate last week. So in this Raider game that we think could pop off a little bit, I like Logan Thomas.
Yeah. All right. I've only got one other person. So Joey,
same
if you
here.
have anybody.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't like the play, but I think this is a week where he gets us a touchdown or two, and it's Tyler Higbee at 3,800.
Oh.
I mean, he's been a little cold with Stafford recently, but, without Robert Woods, I think they're still figuring out that offense. Tyler Higbee did get 5 targets last week. He only caught one of them, but it's the Jaguars. And I can see Tyler Higbee definitely getting his at 3,800. So I think he's another one. If you need to save some money at tight end, I'm probably going to go down to him. Otherwise, I'm up at Gronk and Andrews. I really like to pay up at tight end this week outside of that.
Yeah, I would prefer to pay up at tight end, but I am going to be playing a fair amount of Foster Moreau at 2,700.
Yeah, of course.
He's got the same projection as Conklin, as Logan Thomas.
Moreau's good. Foster Moreau is actually really good. It's just he just happened to have Darren Waller in front of him this entire time. He does it all too. When
his contract runs out at the end of the year this year, he will not be re-signing with the Raiders because Darren Waller is there. Yeah, he's going to go somewhere, and he's actually going to get a nice contract, and he's going to be one of those free agents this year that people go wait, somebody just gave that guy 3 years, $32 million. Yeah, he's really fucking good. And he's got a lot of life left on the tires too, because he just doesn't play very much.
Well,
right?
He's 23.
Yeah, he's a young kid. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so he's going to be a free agent. I mean, I just really like the play this week. Derek Carr loves throwing to his tight ends. He's been there for long enough where he has that rapport with Carr. And the Potatoes defense against tight ends just isn't great. So if I'm not going to pay up, I mean, I think Logan Thomas is probably going to be the lowest guy. And then from there, I'll just go all the way down to Moreau. And honestly, this week, I would prefer Moreau over Thomas just because he's $1,300 less.
No, the Moreau plays great. I did an immediate swap this week and put Moreau in my starting lineups in all my year-long leagues where I had Waller. So, no, I don't know why I didn't bring him up. Thank you.
There you go.
You guys ready to move on to defense, or is there any other weird tight ends there?
No, I'm good.
No, I think I've already gotten weird enough with my Mike Glennon call, so I'll leave that for now.
All All right, guys, let's move on to defense. Let's try to start from the bottom and find any in the bottom of the barrel there.
Start from the bottom. Dude, I'm not going to lie. It was a little tough this week finding someone. Jim, I mean, is there anybody that jumps at you? I have one.
I think I like the potatoes at 2,500. I think I like the Raiders a little bit more at 2,800 just because of the pass rush that they can generate. Tyler Heineke kind of holds the ball quite a bit. So I don't mind those two. Other than that, like I mentioned earlier, I think this is going to be a week that I just pay all the way up to the Rams at 4,000 because there's so much value elsewhere. I think that this is one of those weeks that the Rams could have the 15 to 20 point game. And I kind of want to be a part of that. I'm sure they're going to be a little bit higher owned because, a lot of times people don't like to pay down. The average player doesn't like to pay down for some of these really shitty defenses that we like to play. But this week, I mean, I just think that that's where I would probably be most comfortable, unless you guys had anything different.
Yeah, the only game I really like, it's the Dolphins. Their defense has been playing very well lately. In their last 4 games, 23, 5, 18, 17. They're getting turnovers. They're causing things. They're playing hard. And the Giants' offense is atrocious.
Now they
going
get
against
Jim's neck.
They're going against the neck. So the Dolphins are going to be a core play of mine.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Saving 700 down from saving 700 from the Rams, but I do like the Rams play. The Rams could easily win this game 40-0.
Pile of loser flesh walking around New York.
Yeah, I can see this Dolphins game literally being another 13.
You got to do that. You got to do that, huh?
Yeah,
you got to belittle my player that much. It's just so wrong.
I hear you. One team, I'm going to keep playing them. I know the matchup doesn't look amazing, but division games get weird. These teams know each other. I'm going to continue to play Houston. They're getting 6, 8,
Their
10 points a game.
Actually all right, yeah.
Dude, they play hard. They're not like a rollover, group like Jacksonville, which is just an embarrassment to the NFL. Like, they actually try, which, I know we're not giving out orange slices at halftime here, but Houston will give an effort. And if they can just contain Taylor a little bit, Wentz is bound to make some stupid ass plays and turn the ball over. So maybe you get a pick 6 or something out of it. So,
well, yeah, he kind of talked about, he's the guy that he just makes some of those really weird plays. Yeah. And that's all you really need. You get 1 pick 6. Yeah, and I mean, you're sitting pretty. I mean, I don't
totally.
The Colts run the ball so much that I don't think that they're going to put up I think that if they win in a dominant fashion, it'll be 34-10 or something like that, right? It's not going to be like a 50-point type game. No. I don't think
it won't shoot out.
Yeah,
no. So and the only other team up high that you guys didn't really talk about, I don't think, that I have a little bit of interest in, kind of right in that mid 3K range, is Arizona defense.
See, I don't like that.
Chicago sucks, dude. Arizona's coming off of a bye.
I don't think Arizona's defense is very good.
No, but I think it could very much be like an Andy Dalton. I know I played the Red Rifle last week on Thanksgiving and he balled out, but he's not good.
Right.
And this could be a Chandler Jones
You didn't tell me that you had red hair, or that you sucked at quarterback, or that you can't throw the ball.
Chicago sucks, dude.
I would rather play Tampa Bay against Atlanta. Tampa Bay's defense is actually good. And Matt Ryan is he's not as bad as Roethlisberger, but he's definitely on the same path.
No, he's pretty bad. Right, yeah, they're neck and neck.
He's not as bad as Big Ben.
I mean, if you're only going to pay $100 less to play,
a lot of necks this week.
I mean, if you're only going to play $100 less to get a defense playing against neck, then
I'll be playing a lot against neck, no doubt.
Yeah, so the Dolphins are my core play on defense this week.
Well, they're probably going to be mine too.
You know what time it is? It's hot take time. Let's do.
I already think you know mine, but so I'll go last.
Well, the listeners don't.
Well, they should by I
was singing his praises. Just do it. Fire it out there. Let's go.
Yeah,
put it on there.
I think Mike Glennon's going to have 25 plus points or more this week.
My God.
All
right.
Okay,
I'm going to get really weird.
$20 ready.
I'm going to get really weird. And this is based off of game flow, injuries, other weird shit happening. But Nahi Himes, 20 points.
Ooh, I like it. The dark horse.
The dark horse, right? Maybe they're whooping their butt. Naheem Himes gets all the, the carries in the second half or whatever. Or Houston's clamping down on the run, and Naheem Himes is in there getting a ton of catches out of the backfield. So there's an opportunity for it. I think my wild take is Naheem Himes for 20.
Look, we don't call this bold take section for nothing, right?
Exactly.
That is interesting. I'm looking right now, trying to see if it's happened. I don't think it has this year yet. I know a few teams have come close, but Jim, you stole it right off the very beginning of the show, which I had written down. I think we catch our first 50 burger of the year with the Rams putting it on Jacksonville this week. Right. I think they just beat the real shit out of them and send Urban back to the swampy bar and realize he didn't get $100 million from USC. I think it's just going to be all bad in Duval this week.
And Urban takes a college job after this week.
Is there any still open?
State.
Fresno State. Fresno State's open.
Said Tedford's coming back.
Oh, I guess, he could go to Oklahoma, but Urban ain't going to Oklahoma.
Yeah, Urban's not going
to. Dude, he wants Notre Dame, but they're apparently going to fill that.
They want some guy who is this hardcore Catholic that can go recruit all the big Catholic schools in the Midwest.
What do you mean? Urban is a Catholic. That's why he retired, to spend more time on his faith.
Yeah.
Hey, he said his Hail Marys. He's fine.
Well,
so awesome.
Yeah, that's a good part about being Catholic, right?
I think Urban's in just a rotten spot right now, and McVay's gonna smack him around. So
okay, well that's good.
That's how we roll.
Get your $20 ready.
Vinnie. You lose. All right. So what is it? The straight up Glennon versus Ben. DK.
Yeah, DraftKings points. Yep.
Okay. All right.
It's neck versus fat. All right, guys.
Go.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Week 13. Good luck this week. Make sure you're hitting on your plays. Make sure you're tweeting at us, sending your winning lineup so we can retweet you, get you guys more followers. We want to turn Red Zone into a community here, so we want to win together because we're all going off the same plays, generally making our lineup. So make sure to follow us on Twitter at JJ McIntosh, Vinnie Levine 29, and DFS Joey Levine. Go to our website at dfsredzone.com to see all of our content, college content, NFL content, podcasts, and more. Spotify, Apple Pod, you guys know it. Share it, love it, smash the like button. Good luck this week. Later, guys.